Yo, what's up guys? It's Noah here, and in today's video, we're going to be breaking down the NBA slate on Draftkings and Yahoo for Wednesday, May the 5th. We got a 9-game Wednesday slate to go over, so as always guys, before we get started with the breakdown, I would appreciate it if you would click that like button down below, and if you are new to the channel here, be sure to click that subscribe button as well. Also hit the notification bell so that way you do get notified every time I upload, and you also do get notified every time I go live. Should be live once again around 4:30 Eastern time. Should be live streaming for this slate, so if you guys do want to come hang out, I'll be live around 4:30 talking through the slate with you guys, answering all your questions as always. And yeah, before we get started with the team by team breakdown, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Also, if you do really enjoy these YouTube videos, if you enjoy the content I put out on YouTube, you want to see more that I do have to offer, I do have additional content on Patreon that you can check out. I give full updated core plays on Patreon. I have a Discord chat that is available for Patreon members where you can ask me questions. Basically, throughout the day. I mean, up until lock, I'm in Discord answering questions. Even after lock, if you want to, ask anything, I'm always around to answer questions. So check out the Patreon content, see all that I have to offer over there. Get my updated core plays, get in our Discord chat. I also have a spreadsheet where I, basically list off my favorite plays at each position for cash games and for GPPs. That's also available for Patreon members. So a lot of additional content there. Click the link in the description. Check that out if that is something that does interest you. But let's go ahead and take a look at the Boston and Orlando game. We'll start off with this one. So on Boston today, some important news here. Jaylen Brown has already been ruled out for the Celtics, while Tristan Thompson, he is currently listed as questionable. So obviously Jaylen Brown being out, that's pretty impactful. And Tristan Thompson being questionable is also very impactful. That definitely, makes a guy like Robert Williams look super, super appealing if Tristan Thompson were to get ruled out. But starting off with the Jaylen Brown news, with Jaylen Brown out, we really know who benefits at this point. It's it's the other guys. It's Tatum. It's Kemba Walker. Marcus Smart doesn't really benefit a ton. At his price point, I'm not going to play Marcus Smart at 6,700 when I can get Kemba for a couple hundred more. So I would definitely rather play Kemba over Smart. I would say that Evan Fournier also benefits without Jaylen Brown. There'll be more minutes available for him. He probably will move into the starting lineup if I had to guess. He'll probably get 32 to 34 minutes. He's viable for sure, but we'll start off with the top two guys. So Tatum, you have at 10,100. You have Kemba at 7,300. Tatum, I think, is a decent pay-up option on today's slate, but this is a 9-game slate. We do have a lot of other studs. You have Westbrook, you have Giannis going up against each other. You have Jokic, you have Sabonis, you have Towns. I mean, there's a lot of pay-up options. You have Joel Embiid, Julius Randle. There's guys like Westbrook. Basically, I've said it I don't know for how long, but anytime Westbrook's on a slate, he's going to be one of my favorite studs. That's once again the case today. Draftkings, I don't know what they're doing. They're not raising the price on Russell Westbrook. So, I'm going to play Westbrook over Tatum. I think I prefer Giannis over Tatum as well. But I think Tatum's viable for sure. He definitely gets a boost without Jaylen Brown. But given the savings, I think I would rather roster Kemba Walker. 7,300, I actually do like Kemba Walker a good amount. I would say that right now he is probably my favorite play from Boston. He also looks pretty appealing on Yahoo. The price tag over there, pretty reasonable, $28. I think if you're looking for a mid-range point guard option, Kemba Walker does stand out to me. Obviously without Jaylen Brown, there's going to be more usage available for Kemba. Minutes should still, I don't think his minutes are really going to change much. He's going to play 36, 38 minutes regardless, as long as this game can stay close. Now, that's a big worry. This Orlando team is terrible. Right now, even at home, Orlando is 10.5-point dogs here. But if we do get 36, 38 minutes from Kemba without Jaylen Brown, he should average, around 1.1, 1.2 fantasy points per minute. Is very likely to give you 40 plus DK points if he does play his full minutes today. So definitely like Kemba at his price. I think Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum is also viable as well with Brown out. Like I said, I don't have a ton of interest in Smart. I'd rather play Kemba. Robert Williams, if Tristan Thompson gets ruled out, I think Robert Williams at 5,400 probably becomes one of my favorite plays on the slate. Robert Williams lately has only been playing about mid-20s minutes, but I would assume that if Thompson gets ruled out, we probably see Robert Williams play close to 30 minutes, and at 5,400, he would definitely be underpriced today if Tristan Thompson's out. So that's news we're going to have to wait and see on. And then, like I said, Evan Fournier, I think, benefits without Jaylen Brown. He might start, should play around 30-ish minutes, 5,300 in a revenge game against his former team. I think Evan Fournier is viable too. Aaron Naismith, maybe you could go to off the bench. He should see a few more minutes without Jaylen Brown. He was playing really well for those last 2 games, and then against Portland, he only played 20 minutes last game, but my best guess, we probably get low 20s minutes from Aaron Naismith. If he were to start, that would make me a little bit more confident in him. So could be a value play worth considering at only 3,200. I would say, though, that Kemba Walker and Robert Williams, if Thompson's out, those are my two favorite plays from Boston. And then I think you could go to Tatum, you could go to Evan Fournier, you could go to Aaron Naismith if he starts. But that does it for the Boston side. Now looking at Orlando here, this is not a team I have a ton of interest in, but there is one guy that I do want to talk about from Orlando. At the top, I don't really see too much I like Cole Anthony, Wendell Carter Jr., Mo Bamba. I don't think I'm really going to any of those guys today. Same with like a Dwayne Bacon. Mo Wagner, he played 41 minutes last game. He wasn't great, only had 19 DK points, but if you're going to continue to get huge minutes like that from Wagner, he played 34 the game before. Like if we're going to get 35, 40 minutes from Mo Wagner on a nightly basis now, while Chuma Okeke remains out, the opportunity is going to be there for him. He's still relatively cheap. You could go to him. I think he's an okay value play. He is pretty cheap on Yahoo, $13 at center. I think, he looks pretty good over there. But I would say that RJ Hampton is probably my favorite play from Orlando. So lately he's been coming off the bench, and he's basically been coming off the bench, since he signed with Orlando. But he's been playing really well, and there is a chance that maybe they move him into the starting lineup just with how well he's played lately. Last two games, he's played 30 and 35 minutes, and he's been very productive with 41 and 47 DK points. He's been, contributing in all categories, been scoring, been rebounding, been getting assists. He was 3 rebounds shy of a triple-double last game. Like for 4,500, if we're going to get 30 minutes from RJ Hampton, with this Magic team obviously tanking and not wanting to win games, I mean, they're going to give these young guys big minutes. Even if this game blows out, which is obviously something we don't want to happen, but if this game does blow out, I do expect RJ Hampton to still play even in the blowout. He'll play regardless. So for 4,500, he's a value guy that I am looking to for sure. Now, can we expect 40 DK points? Probably not. But I think if he's going to continue to get 30-plus minutes off the bench, especially while Okeke, Ross, Ennis, MCW, while all these guys remain out, the opportunity is there for RJ Hampton. And with Orlando kind of being on the young movement right now, playing their young guys, that's obviously pretty good for RJ Hampton, who is obviously a young guy. I'm pretty sure he's a rookie. He's someone they do want to develop, see what they have in him. I think the minutes are going to continue to be there for him on a nightly basis. So definitely like RJ Hampton as well. 4,500 on DK, pretty cheap. Also pretty cheap on Yahoo, coming in at $15 at shooting guard. I think Evan Fournier looks like a good option too at $16. But I'll go with Hampton for now, just in the early core. But that probably does it for Orlando. I think we can go ahead and talk about the next game. So next game we got Portland and Cleveland. On the Portland side today, you have Damian Lillard at 9,400. He's currently listed as probable. He's expected to play. I think Lillard's a decent option today. He's been playing really well lately. Been scoring, pretty nice. I mean, 32, 26, 33 real-life points these last few games. The assists have been up for Lillard. 9 assists against Brooklyn, 13 against Boston, 8 last game against Atlanta. He scored at least 53 DK points in 3 straight games. Dame, it's hard to play Dame on this slate when you have Giannis, when you have Westbrook, when you have some of these other studs that we've mentioned. But I think Dame's a good low-owned option. He was pretty low-owned last slate against Atlanta. I think he's going to be pretty low-owned again today. So I definitely have interest in Damian Lillard in tournaments. Yusuf Nurkic, I think, at 6,900. Another guy you could look to in tournaments. He hasn't really been playing that well lately, but we know the upside that Nurkic has. We know he can pop off at any time, put up 45, 50 DK points any game. Is Nurkic a top play for me? No, but I think someone that makes sense in tournaments. He's someone that I would want to have in my player pool if I was playing multiple lineups. Just playing one lineup, I don't know if I'm going to get to Nurkic today. Obviously, I haven't built my lineups yet, but I think Nurkic's definitely viable. Lillard and Nurkic are the two guys I like most from Portland. I don't think I'm really going to anyone else, though, on this team. So on the other side here, looking at Cleveland, Darius Garland, he did not play on Tuesday. We will need to monitor his status for Wednesday's game. It is a back-to-back for the Cavs. I would assume that Garland probably plays. I assume he just sat out Tuesday so he could play today. But if he's out again, I don't think there's too much that stands out from Cleveland. Obviously, the biggest beneficiary with Garland out is going to be Colin Sexton. But Colin Sexton, kind of feels priced appropriately today. We know he's going to get big minutes. We know the matchup's good against Portland. But 8,100, I don't think I'm going to pay this price tag for Sexton, even if Garland's 6. I would say that Sexton does look a lot more appealing on Yahoo, just because he's shooting guard, which is not the best position. $30, I think, is a pretty nice price tag for Colin Sexton. So if I was going to play him, it would be over on Yahoo. I don't think I'm going to get to him on DK. Just with, we'll talk about other guys I like in that price range. If Garland gets ruled out, though, I think Sexton would be the one guy I consider on Cleveland. Outside of that, though, I'm not really looking to any Cavs today. Like Isaac Okoro had a huge game on Tuesday, but I really don't want to chase that. We know Okoro's not a very high upside player. We know this is a guy that's not very productive when he's on the floor. He had an outlier performance. I'm not going to chase that. I'll let other people do that. So I think that does it for this Cleveland game. So next game, we got Phoenix and Atlanta. Phoenix, another team on a back-to-back today. Devin Booker, Chris Paul, both had really good games Tuesday against Cleveland. It was kind of surprising, like that Phoenix-Cleveland game was like one of the least appealing games on the slate, and then it was the only game that went to overtime. It wound up being very high scoring. You did get big games, obviously, like I said, from Booker and Paul. Here against Atlanta, like I just don't think I'm going to go to Devin Booker or Chris Paul today. Again, like there's just other guards I prefer in the mid-range. Like I think I'd rather play Kemba over Chris Paul. I think I'd rather play there's other guards we're talking about that I'd prefer over Booker. So really, I don't like any Suns here. Given that it's a back-to-back and they did go to overtime in their game Tuesday, maybe they rest somebody, but I doubt that happens. I'm pretty sure they're still playing for, playoff seeding. They want to win games, so I expect everyone to be in. If that's the case, I don't see too many standout plays from Phoenix. Booker and Paul, decent tournament plays, but am I going to personally play them on this slate? Probably not. Same with DeAndre Ayton. There's just other centers I prefer over Ayton today. Mikal Bridges had a big game, but do I want to chase that? Do I want to play Mikal Bridges today? Not really. Without Jay Crowder, if Crowder's out again, we should expect big minutes for Bridges, but he's just not someone that I really play often, and I don't think I'm going to go to him today. So we can go ahead and move on to the Atlanta side. Now with Atlanta here, I really don't see much I like from the Hawks. It's a bad matchup, slow-paced game. These two teams play relatively slow. The total in this game is probably going to be pretty low if I had to guess. I don't think I'm going to go to any Atlanta guys today. Trae Young you have at 9,600, but I think on this slate I would rather play someone like Damian Lillard at a similar price. I'd rather play some of these other studs we're going to talk about later. Capella, I don't really like at his price tag. Bogdanovich, I believe he's probable. He's expected to play. He's probable, so he's expected to play. There's just nothing I really like from Atlanta. I think we can go ahead and move on to the next game. So next game we got Philly and Houston. On Philly today, looking at the Sixers here, another team I don't have a ton of interest in. You have Joel Embiid at 10,200. This is a really good matchup against Houston. Houston's been killed by centers this season. Embiid had a huge game against the Rockets earlier this year, but again, we have a lot of studs today. We have Westbrook, we have Jokic, we have Giannis, we have Karl-Anthony Towns, Julius Randle. There's just so many pay-up options. I don't think I can prioritize Embiid over guys like Westbrook and Giannis, and even maybe Sabonis, who's been playing really well lately. I don't think I'm going to get to Embiid today in my one lineup. Could you go to him if you're playing multiple lineups? Obviously, you could. I don't think I'm going to play Embiid on this slate, though. This is a game that obviously there's some blowout potential. This Houston team is just really bad. They're going to get blown out a lot this season. We've obviously seen that already. They're 15-point dogs right now, so that's a little bit worrisome. But I guess if I had to play a Sixer, it would be Embiid. I don't think I'm going to go to Ben Simmons or Tobias Harris, though. Their price tags look a little bit too low, but they just haven't been good lately. Ben Simmons, we haven't seen a good game from him in what feels like forever. Same with Tobias Harris. The upside on these guys when they're playing alongside Embiid, their ceilings, it's just not that high. A good game, a ceiling game for Tobias Harris at this point is 45 DK points, which even at 6,800, you're not going to be really someone you have to have. So I think overall this Philly team is probably going to be a team I avoid today. Embiid, I think, would be the one guy I'd look to from the Sixers. Seth Curry had a good game, but do I really want to chase that? Chase a scoring-dependent player like Seth Curry? I don't think so. So, yeah, I think it's Embiid, and probably that's it. Now, on the Houston side, I really don't like much from the Rockets either. They remain shorthanded, but in a tough matchup against the Sixers in a game that has a lot of blowout potential, do I really want to be forcing in Rockets today? I don't think so. Everyone's kind of been priced up, As long as the game stays close, we're going to get big minutes from Christian Wood and Kevin Porter and Kelly Olynyk, but they've kind of been priced up to reflect that. Christian Wood's almost 9K, Kevin Porter's almost 8K, Kelly Olynyk is 7,500. I don't think really any Houston guys stand out at their price points. I'm not going to really anyone off the bench. If you force me to play a Rocket, it would probably be one of these top three guys, but really none of them stand out to me, at least not on this slate. So I think we can go ahead and move on to the next game. Now's where we start to get into some really appealing games. So we got Sacramento and Indiana. This is one that I do have a lot of interest in. We saw Indiana and Washington play on Monday. It was a super, super high-scoring game. I expect that to be the case here with these two teams that do play at a very fast pace. Starting off on the Kings side, we already know that Tyrese Halliburton's going to be out again. I'm pretty sure they already ruled him out for the season, so he's going to be out. De'Aaron Fox, I don't think is going to be ready to return yet. He remains out for Tuesday. He's been sidelined for what feels like about a week or two. He's getting close to the time that he should be able to return, but I don't think it's going to be here. Keep an eye on this, though. If De'Aaron Fox does play, obviously that will change my thoughts on Sacramento. But for now, I'm going to assume that De'Aaron Fox remains out. If that's the case, with Fox out, with Halliburton out, I think we can look to go right back to DeLon Wright. Obviously, DeLon Wright was a very chalky play on Tuesday's slate, and you basically had to have him. He went out there and absolutely smashed. He nearly triple-doubled He's still, pretty affordable on both sites, especially on Yahoo. I mean, on Yahoo, DeLon Wright looks like a top play on Yahoo, $12. I mean, I really don't know how you don't play him here. Like I said, he nearly triple-doubled, had 13, 10, and 8. Also had 4 steals and 4 blocks, 60 fantasy points from DeLon Wright in 36 minutes on Tuesday night. As long as, De'Aaron Fox is out again, we're probably going to get DeLon Wright starting and playing 36, 38 minutes. Top play for me, one of my favorite plays once again. Even though the price came up a little bit on DraftKings, I still think DeLon Wright's a really good play at 5,600. This is someone that, throughout his career has always been productive when he gets the minutes. He's someone that can contribute in all categories, and we obviously saw that in his first start on Tuesday. If he starts again Wednesday, I love DeLon Wright once again. But outside of DeLon Wright, Buddy Hield, I think we can also look to. He also had a really good game on Tuesday without Fox and without Halliburton. He played big minutes. He was very productive. Had 42 fantasy points in 37 minutes, had 18 and 11 with four assists, a steal, and a block. He's kind of been priced up, but I still think Buddy Hield looks like a decent option. Rashawn Holmes, I don't mind either. Now, he got into some foul trouble, I do believe. I think he got into foul trouble on Tuesday. I can't exactly remember. But he did play 31 minutes, had 26 fantasy points. He wasn't that productive, but the opportunity is going to be there for Rashawn Holmes. He should get probably 32, 33 minutes here as long as this game stays close. Fast-paced game. Game that should see a ton of points scored. I think Rashawn Holmes still looks like a decent option. And I would say behind DeLon Wright, Marvin Bagley is probably my second favorite play from the Kings. Obviously, Marvin Bagley was another guy that was super popular on Tuesday. He had played 34 minutes in their game before on Sunday. They said he was on a minutes restriction then. He played 34 minutes, had 40 DK points. He didn't have that great of a game Tuesday. He kind of busted his chalk. I mean, I wouldn't say that he busted, but he obviously, didn't crush at his salary. He finished with 23 fantasy points in 31 minutes, but the opportunity was there. He played over 30 minutes again. He was in foul trouble as well. He would have played more minutes had he not been in foul trouble. With Marvin Bagley kind of underperforming on Tuesday, with him being massive chalk on Tuesday and kind of, letting people down, I think he's going to be much lower owned today. Now, he'll still probably be pretty popular, but I still think we're going to see the minutes from Marvin Bagley. He's going to get 32, 34 minutes here. Harrison Barnes was also out on Tuesday. I'm assuming that Barnes will probably be out again here, but this will be something to monitor as well. Regardless, I think we get 30-plus minutes from Marvin Bagley, and at 5,400, I do like him a lot today, and I like him a lot on Yahoo as well at $20. Definitely one of my favorite power forward options, and even though he killed me Tuesday, I'm fine going right back to Marvin Bagley today. It's clear that the opportunity is going to be there, especially while Halliburton, Fox, Barnes, while all these guys remain out. And then, lastly, I think Terrence Davis is fine to go to off the bench. He did play a decent amount off the bench on Tuesday's game. Without Halliburton, without Fox, there's going to be more opportunity for him. He played 30 and a half minutes, had 25 fantasy points. We're probably going to get, 28 to 30 minutes from Terrence Davis off the bench. If you want to consider him, I think he's fine as well. So definitely a lot to like from this Kings team. My two favorite plays right now are definitely DeLon Wright and Marvin Bagley, but I think Buddy Hield's in play. I think Rashawn Holmes is in play. I think Terrence Davis is also viable. As long as Fox, Halliburton, and Barnes remain out, I think these are guys we can consider from Sacramento. But on the other side here, looking at the Pacers, so we're going to have to watch the status of Malcolm Brogdon. Brogdon was questionable last game. He did not wind up playing. This is very important news. Obviously, this is something that impacts a decent amount. Without Brogdon, you're going to get massive usage rates for both Sabonis and Karis LeVert, and we saw that last game. Both these guys played really well, had monster games. Sabonis played 43 minutes in regulation, had 74 DraftKings points. Karis LeVert, he played 38 minutes in regulation, had 52 DK points. I mean, if Brogdon's out, while Miles Turner's out as well, without Brogdon, without Turner, it's going to be the Sabonis and LeVert show. And in a great matchup against Sacramento, even though their prices came up, I still think Sabonis and LeVert would look like really good options today if Brogdon's out again. Now, if Brogdon plays, I would say that's going to lower my interest in the Pacers as a whole. I still think Sabonis would be viable just because without Miles Turner, Sabonis does really benefit, getting his minutes at center. At his price, though, of $10,600, I don't think I could play him over some other studs like Westbrook, like Giannis. But Sabonis would still be a decent option. If Brogdon's out, though, I think that's where it's going to get interesting. If Brogdon's out again, then I really like Sabonis. I really like Karis LeVert. I don't know if I'd be looking too much else on this Pacers team, though. Like McConnell, if Brogdon sits, should get around 30 minutes off the bench. He had a really good game last game in a good matchup. At 5,700, you could definitely go to TJ McConnell today if he is. Or if Brogdon is out again, he'd be my third favorite play behind Sabonis and LeVert. But I probably don't really want to go to anyone else. I don't think I'm playing O'Shea Brissett at his price. I'm not going to Edmund Sumner or Doug McDermott. I just never really play those score independent guys like Doug McDermott. So for me, if Brogdon's out, Sabonis, LeVert, McConnell, I like all three of those guys. If Brogdon plays, no interest in LeVert, no interest in McConnell, but I think Sabonis would still be a viable option. Wouldn't be as good of a play though if Brogdon's in. But that does it for this game. Moving on to the next one, we got Memphis and Minnesota. So on Memphis here, I don't see too much that really stands out from the Grizzlies. I think, Joe Val at 7,800 makes for a pretty good low-owned tournament option. I don't see him getting much ownership on this slate, but, in a good matchup against the Timberwolves in what should be another pretty fast-paced game, I think J Val obviously has the upside here. The minutes have been there. Jaren Jackson Jr. has already been ruled out for the Grizzlies, so without Jaren Jackson Jr., that makes it much more likely we do get, 30-plus minutes from J Val, and we know J Val is a very productive player when he's on the floor. So if I had to play a Grizzly today, I think it would be him. But I'm probably not going to anyone else on this team outside of J-Val. Now, on the Minnesota side, looking at the Timberwolves, I don't think I really like a ton here. Karl-Anthony Towns at 10,300, is always someone that's worth paying up for. He's always got upside. On this slate, though, we have Westbrook, we have Giannis, we have Jokic. Those are going to be guys that I do prefer over Towns. They're just better point-per-minute players. They're going to play probably more minutes than Towns is as well. Their matchup's a little bit better. So we'll talk about them in a second, but I think Towns is obviously viable. Anthony Edwards, though, I don't really like at his price. D'Angelo Russell at 7K, I'm not a big fan of. Ricky Rubio, he's been starting still, but you just never know what the minutes are going to look like. He got 22, then 20, then he played 17, but then the last two games he's played 31 and 32 minutes. If you tell me we're going to get 30 minutes from Ricky Rubio, I'd like him a lot at 4,500, but I just don't really have any confidence that happens. In tournaments, you could go there just as a low-owned play. I don't see a ton of people playing Ricky Rubio today. But now that D'Angelo Russell's playing 30-plus minutes a night, the minutes for Ricky Rubio are definitely going to fluctuate. Some nights he'll play more, some nights he won't play as much. If you want to take the shot there in tournaments, it's okay. But there's really no standout plays for me from Minnesota. I think we can go and talk about the next game. So next game up, we got Washington and Milwaukee. This is, probably behind Sacramento and Indiana, or even ahead of Sacramento, Indiana. This is probably my favorite game on the slate. Two pretty fast-paced teams. Another game that, should see a ton of points scored in it. I don't think we have a total yet here, but I would assume that this game is probably going to come in, with probably one of the higher totals on the slate. Starting off on the Wizards side, this Wizards team, it's pretty easy to break down at this point. Russell Westbrook is just a guy that, until DraftKings raises his price, you almost have to play him like every slate. 81 DK points last game against the Pacers, 74 the game before that. Had a floor game against Cleveland and still put up 51 DK points. Westbrook is basically just a lock to give you 50, and he has the upside to put up 75, 80 in a game like this that should be very fast-paced, that should be high-scoring. I wouldn't be surprised if we get another 70, 80-point game from Russell Westbrook. He's just been on another level this season. I've said it before, Westbrook's at his own tier this year. He's just so much, in terms of DFS, he's just been so much better than everyone else. The triple-double rate is insane. He's literally triple-doubling every single game. He's put up a triple-double, out of his last 10. He's triple-doubled in, let's see, It looks like 8 of his last 10 games he's put up a triple-double, and then one of those games he was only 1 assist shy, and that was against Dallas. So, the dude's he's playing at another level. Until DraftKings puts his price up to where it should be, until they price him up to 12K where he should be, I'm just going to keep playing Russell Westbrook. So he's once again my favorite stud on the slate, 11K on DraftKings. I will say that on Yahoo, they priced him up a little bit, and also the scoring on Yahoo is definitely different than DraftKings. DraftKings, you get the bonus, you get the double-double bonus, you get the triple-double bonus on DraftKings. You don't get that on Yahoo, but I still think Westbrook looks like one of the best pay-up options on Yahoo. Even at $57, he can still go for 70, 80 fantasy points like he has, in both of his last 2 games. I do like Westbrook a lot over there as well. But that's probably it for the Wizards. I don't think I'm playing Bradley Beal. In 9,500, Bradley Beal's just, you're overpaying for Bradley Beal at this point. He's just not a guy that I feel like I need to pay 9,500 for. With how he's been producing this season, he should be priced around 8,500. He's been putting up, 40, 50 DK points a night. That's just not going to get it done at 9,500. So don't really have much interest in Beal. And that's probably it for the Wizards. I think my main interest in definitely, obviously, Westbrook. Rui Hachimura had a good game last game. You never know what you're going to get from Rui. If you want to take a shot on him, I guess you could go there. But it's Westbrook. It's just Westbrook, and that's probably it from this Wizards team. I don't see too much else I like on Washington. Now, on the Milwaukee side, this is a back-to-back for the Bucks, so do keep an eye on this. The Bucks have always been, pretty weird when it comes to back-to-back. Sometimes they'll rest guys, sometimes they won't. They did play, or all the starters did play their full minutes on Tuesday against Brooklyn. Giannis, he played his normal minutes. He had a pretty good game once again Tuesday. He finished with, I think, 60 fantasy points. 54 fantasy points on Yahoo, played 37.5 minutes, 36 points, 12 rebounds, 4 assists, and a steal from Giannis in Tuesday's game. You know, again, I think Giannis is another really good pay-up option today. Now, right now, I think I do give the edge to Westbrook over him right now, but I would say that Giannis is probably my second favorite stud behind Westbrook. Great matchup here against the Wizards. As I said earlier, this should be a very fast-paced game. We should see a ton of points scored here. I really like Giannis today. Assuming that he plays on the back-to-back, I think he's a top option. But outside of Giannis, I'm not going to Chris Middleton 8,200. You know, Drew Holiday had a good game Tuesday against Brooklyn, but at 8K, it kind of feels like you're overpaying for Drew. You know, the matchup is really good. There should be a lot of points scored here. Could Drew put up another big game? You know, he obviously could, but normally when Giannis is healthy, I don't really play any Bucks outside of Giannis, and I think that's going to be the case today. You know, assuming that Giannis plays here on the back-to-back, do keep an eye on that. But we can go ahead and move on to the next game, San Antonio and Utah. So I would say that this is probably one of my least favorite games on the slate. Like on the Spurs side, we know Derek White's going to remain out, but I don't think, you know, that really changes much here. I mean, obviously, Dejounte Murray benefits without Derek White, but he's kind of been priced up to reflect that. You know, DeRozan, Murray, both these guys can put up big games any night, but in a tough matchup against the Jazz in what should be a pretty slow-paced game, I just don't think I'm going to play any Spurs today. There's just too many other guys I prefer on the slate, and overall, this Spurs team I think is probably one of my least favorite teams to target. I just don't really see much I like from San Antonio. Now on the Utah side, I mean, it's kind of the same thing. You know, Mitchell and Conley are both going to be out again. I don't think that really changes much though, because you know, everyone on Utah's been priced up to reflect that. Clarkson's 7,300, Bojan's 6,800, Ingles is 6,700. You know, if you force me to play someone on Utah, it'd probably be Joe Ingles at 6,700, just because, you know, without Mitchell, without Conley, he's going to start at point guard, going to get probably 32, 34 minutes. You know, he has upside, but we haven't really seen any massive games from any of these Utah guys. Like, even without Mitchell and without Conley, we've yet to see like a huge game from anyone. You know, Bojan did have a couple good games, but really, you know, now that he's been priced up to 6,800, it doesn't really feel like you need to go to Bojan here. And then, overall, this is probably a game that I'm just going to fade. But I think, you know, you could go to some of these Utah guys. They're going to be super low owned. But me personally, I don't think I'm going to play anyone from this game. Unless we get news that changes things, this is going to be probably a fade for me. So last game of the night, we got the Knicks and the Nuggets. So looking at the Knicks side here, pretty important news talking about Nerlens Noel, who is currently questionable. So Nerlens Noel was questionable last slate. I was expecting him to be out, and he was ruled out. We did get Taj Gibson in the starting lineup in place of Noel, and Gibson did play 33 minutes, was very productive, had 6 points, 12 rebounds, 2 assists, and 5 blocks. Now the 5 blocks were a bit of a fluke, but still had 33 DK points in 33 minutes. He would have played a few more minutes, but he did get into some foul trouble. As long as Noel's out again and Taj Gibson starts, I think we get 33, 34 minutes from Taj Gibson at 3,700. He would be a very solid value play on the slate. He's got power forward eligibility on Draftkings, so if Noel is out, Gibson is definitely my favorite play from this Knicks team. Julius Randle at 10K, I think is a good tournament option. He's going to be low on today. Am I going to play Julius Randle over Russell Westbrook? No. Am I going to play Julius Randle over Giannis? No. Am I going to play Julius Randle over over Jokic? Probably not. Like, there's other guys I prefer over Randle, but Randle will be super low owned, and we know he has tournament winning upside. You could definitely go there at 10K, but I would say that really it's just a wait and see for me on Noel. If Noel's out, I do like Taj Gibson quite a bit. If Noel plays, I don't really think I'm going to go to any Knicks on this slate. Outside of maybe Randle in tournaments. But on the Denver Nuggets side, look at the Nuggets here. So Jokic, we have at 10,700. I think Jokic, probably my third favorite stud behind Westbrook and Giannis, as we discussed earlier. We know what Jokic is just going to give you on a nightly basis. This matchup against the Knicks is not great. The Knicks do play slow. They've been really good defensively this year, but we're going to get 35, 36 minutes from Jokic if this game is close. We know he's going to dominate the usage on this team. We know he has triple-double upside every night. His floor is not as high as a guy like Westbrook, but the ceiling is obviously there. He can put up 70, 80 DK points any night. So I still do like Jokic. Just would put him behind Westbrook and behind Giannis, I think. MPJ, I don't really like at 8,400. He just feels like you're overpaying for MPJ at this point. I don't think I'm going to go to him on this slate. I do want to mention that PJ Dozier is out. So with no Will Barton, with no Monte Morris, with no Jamal Murray, with no PJ Dozier, I'm not sure who they're going to start in place of PJ Dozier. My best guess is that we probably see Austin Rivers move into the starting lineup, but they could start like Shaq Harrison. Shaq Harrison's minimum salary, depending on who starts for PJ Dozier, we could maybe get some value from Denver. Austin Rivers is only 3,400. Shaq Harrison, like I said, is 3K. Whichever one starts, I think, makes it for a decent value. Austin Rivers did play 33 minutes off the bench last game. he seems to be the guy they want to give the minutes to, and I would assume that he's probably the guy that starts in place of PJ Dozier, but do keep an eye on this. If we do get Rivers starting, though, for 3,300 or for 3,400, if he's going to play over 30 minutes, he's not a great point per minute player. He's not going to be that productive when he's on the floor, but the minutes are going to be there, and that's really all that you can ask for, when a guy's 3,400. So outside of Jokic, I think, Austin Rivers, if he starts for Dozier, is someone you could look to. Campazzo is okay, but at 4,600, I don't love him on this slate. I'd rather play DeLon Wright if I can find the salary. I would say Campazzo is probably my third favorite play, though, behind Jokic and Austin Rivers. So that does it for Denver. I think that does it for this 9-game slate, guys. So appreciate you watching the breakdown, as always. Appreciate you watching the video. If you did enjoy, hit that like button down below before you do get out of here, and be sure to click that subscribe button as well. Also, click the notification bell so that way you do get notified every time I upload, and you also do get notified every time I live stream. As I said at the beginning, guys, if you do really enjoy these videos, if you enjoy the content I put out on YouTube, I have additional content available on Patreon if that is something that does interest you. You can get access to my full updated core plays, basically, my more in-depth thoughts on the slate, my favorite plays at each position. You can get access to our Discord chat, which is available, 24/7. You can ask me questions. I try and respond as quickly as I can. Obviously, up until lock, I'm in the Discord answering questions about, tonight's slate. So if you want to get access to all that, if you want to check out the content I have on Patreon, it is linked down below in the description for those of you that are interested. But that's it, guys. I appreciate you watching. Best of luck tonight. We'll see you in the next video.